Thank you, Charles. Now we will hear from the last committee of the Portland Central City Task Force, the Value Proposition Committee, which we quickly coined as the Optimism Committee. This committee was about giving Portland a North Star and defining our success in 2024 and beyond. Here's just a few of the metrics that they have brought forward. Everyone feels welcome and safe in public squares, along the waterfront, and in concert halls, arenas, museums, and parks. Open drug use is rare. Streets are clean and free of litter. Graffiti is abated quickly, and the plywood is gone. The media and civic and business leaders are telling a positive story about Portland's recovery. Now it's my sincere pleasure to introduce and make sure we hear from the committee chair for the Optimism Committee, Nolan Lienhart, who is the Director of Planning and Urban Design at ZGF and the chair of the Value Proposition Committee. Welcome, Nolan.
Thank you, Governor Kotek. I had the honor to chair this committee, and let's get my notes going here. As she mentioned, we quickly dubbed ourselves the Optimism Committee. While other committees were tasked with dealing with the challenges of Portland Central City, our job was to think about how can we maximize and strengthen the reasons people actually want to be here when they could be anywhere else. What would make a business owner open a business in the Central East Side when they could open it in Vancouver? What would make someone want a nurse at OHSU want to live in the South Waterfront when they could live anywhere else in the region? What makes a Bay Area family want to spend a 3-day weekend here when they could spend it in Seattle? What makes an employee want to work in the office when they could work from home? We had an awesome committee. Part of what I loved was that they brought so many perspectives from around our community. And really, that's what's interesting about cities. We all experience them a little bit differently through our own lens. And we started by thinking about what are the universal reasons people gather in central cities at all, and in this one in particular. Mike Wilkerson from Eco Northwest shared this quote with us that's on the screen, and it was a great starting place, but as we end our process, it also resonates with a lot of the reasons we agreed that people want to be in downtown Portland. It's unparalleled ability to facilitate human connection. One great example of human connection is that when this task force was announced, many of us had friends and associates reaching out. I received so many detailed letters with ideas about what we should do in the central city. Members of the public said, how can we help? So miraculously, on short notice and with the help of many talented facilitators, we actually created 24 listening sessions on a range of topics and geographic areas. We had over 250 participants representing a broad spectrum of community organizations, businesses, and central city neighborhoods. We also distributed a survey that received over 9,000 responses that helped to shape our committee's work, creating a framework for recommendations to drive Portland's recovery. So first, why do we care about central cities and Portland Central City in particular? Downtowns provide a unique benefit through concentration and when people are located near one another. First, matching, the ability for employers to draw from a deep pool of talent and for prospective employees to draw from a broad range of potential employers. Second, sharing, the ability to leverage infrastructure and supply chains. And third, learning, the collaboration and exchange of ideas. Portland Central City does all three of those things, and as a result, it has an outsized impact in jobs, income, and productivity that benefit the region and state economy. So in the spirit of optimism, we also want to remember we have a lot to work with. We're blessed with a stunning natural setting, surrounded by views of the Tualatin Mountains and the Cascade Mountains on the horizon. Few other cities have worked so intentionally to complement their natural gifts with investments in placemaking and infrastructure, including places like Tom McCall Waterfront Park and the East Bank Esplanade, which connect us to the Willamette River. Finally, by intention or accident of history, we have small downtown blocks, making our city walkable and human-scaled, punctuated by abundant street trees and urban parks that form our urban forest. Our work to build a great city over the last 50 years means Portland is not competing to be a low-cost leader. Rather, we need to continue to build on our competitive and comparative advantages. So, the committee distilled the value proposition for Central City Portland into 3 elements. First, the region's shared gathering place. Next, an inclusive hub for innovation and opportunity. And last, an accessible urban community. Maybe the most visible, Maybe the most visible and inclusive way that the Central City facilitates human connection is in its role as the region's premier gathering place, welcoming visitors from across the city, the region, the state, and the world. People come to celebrate arts and culture, attend events, indulge in world-class food, play in the parks, and cheer on their favorite team, sometimes in this room. Central City is also a gateway for visitors to Forest Park, the Willamette Valley, waterfalls, mountains, and the Oregon coast. Sorry, got a little slide misconnection. The setting for many public gatherings are public parks and plazas, which host major events in addition to day-by-day use by residents, shoppers, and downtown workers. Reinvigorating Portland requires accelerating the kinds of successful space activation that we see starting to reanimate Director Park and Pioneer Square, and working toward expanded roles for Waterfront Park, Darcel Plaza, and the park blocks. While we have lessons from the successes of the past, these activations are more important than ever in a new normal of hybrid work. Another conversation that rose to the top in the Value Proposition Committee is the value that arts and culture organizations bring to our community. Performing arts organizations in particular, the Nutcracker this month is going to drive tens of thousands of visits to downtown Portland. Thank you, Oregon Ballet Theater. All of these organizations drive tourism, create jobs, and they hold communities together, but many of them and their peers around the state are struggling and need our support. Funding of arts and culture is a public-private partnership that requires all of us. With state and local government resources to support these public-private partnerships, our arts organizations have indicated that they will be more stable and better positioned to generate private funding. In the process of brainstorming all the ways that we can activate Portland, it revealed actually that there's a tremendous amount of vision and ideas already in some stage of implementation. The Tea House is reopening at the Chinese Garden. Providence Park is bringing concerts back next summer. The Portland Art Museum expansion will be finished in 2025. And starting next weekend, the Woodsy Winter Village and Ice Rink will open at the foot of the Morrison Bridge. We have a lot to be excited about. The second element of the value proposition is the role that the Central City plays as a hub for innovation and opportunity. No other place in the state of Oregon has the concentration of employment and education that's found in Portland Central City. And it's connected to the region by an extensive transportation network. That makes the Central City a critical center of innovation and opportunity for residents, students, and entrepreneurs, where face-to-face connections build trust and chance encounters can create new partnerships. It can draw talented workers and forward-thinking employers and support the many educational institutions we have. We also need to support both our new and legacy businesses with technical assistance and affordable spaces to operate. The city has targeted a number of actions for the Central City and Prosper Portland's Advanced Portland strategy, and PBOT has refined and improved their program to facilitate street activation in partnership with small businesses. And again, we're seeing progress already. Nike just announced that they are reinvesting in the Central City through a large-scale renovation of their flagship store. That deserves applause. That's great news. Other employers are taking a chance on the Central City, like Jacobson Salt Company, TriMet, Panic, and Under You for Men. New retail storefronts are opening, like Bridge City Souls in Old Town, Hood River Distillers in downtown, or the Portland Vintage Market in the Pearl District. PSU is in the initial planning and design phase for a new home of its School of Art and Design. Dr. Ann Cudd was on our committee, which we appreciate so much, and she is leading PSU to expand its role at the heart of an urban academic district. The third element of Portland's Central City value proposition is its role as home to several residential communities. The Central City is home to tens of thousands of Portlanders who value its urban amenities, including world-class parks, transportation options, and proximity to jobs, education, and healthcare. Looking forward, we have the capacity to provide even more housing options for even more people: newborns and elders, students and professionals, and young families. We can make more places where everything they need is a short walk or right away: the library, the grocery store, the doctor's office, the playground. In our new normal, office workers' share of foot traffic has decreased pretty much everywhere due to hybrid work. Residents and visitors are playing and will continue to play a larger role in activating our streets and public spaces and our thriving retail environment. We can already see the benefits of residential density when we look at the effect that residents have on business stability in balanced areas like the Pearl, Goose Hollow, West End, and the South Waterfront. We have an opportunity to increase overall housing production by over 20,000 units in the next 10 years, with strategies like incentives for production, conversion of office buildings to residential, historic preservation, and ensuring affordable rental and ownership options are a significant part of the housing mix. When I say capacity, it's not just space. In fact, we have within the Central City today several major district redevelopments in various stages of planning and development, including the Albina Vision, the OMSI District, Broadway Corridor, and the Lloyd Center redevelopment. These are exactly the kinds of collaborative public-private partnerships that have contributed significant additions to the Central City residential population in the past and that we need to invest in for the future. So, those are the three elements of the value proposition, but there's an additional thread through all three elements and the value proposition itself. A number of participants in the task force, our committee, and our public listening sessions pointed out that we have an opportunity to create a Central City value proposition for the future that extends that value to more people than the Central City value proposition of the past. Key to every element and action here is the ability to support, promote, and provide opportunities for members of our community who haven't always felt welcomed or included in Portland's success story. Thank you. From small business growth to arts and culture to housing and education, we can build back better with targeted investments in an inclusive economy and community. So, I won't take too long on this since we're a little over time. There's lots of ways to support. If you're still looking for ways to support, this is a few ideas. We're going to put a more broad list out because we did hear so many people saying, what can I do? And so that was a big takeaway from the committee. We need a list somewhere posted where people can just pick up, make a donation, donate their time, and we're going to do it. So I'd like to finish as I started with a sense of optimism. It's difficult to bring so many leaders together around a shared sense of direction, but this process proved that the public and private sector have a common interest and a shared sense of urgency in making Portland a thriving, welcoming heart of our region and state. It's hard to believe, but we are the only city that is so intentionally linking arms with the state, county, and private sector to address these issues. I want to thank Governor Kotek for assembling the task force, and now it's time to amplify this work and seek more and more ways for public and private sectors to collaborate on these actions. Because as all these signs say, Portland is what we make it. Thank you. So now I have the pleasure of introducing a dance company whose motto is, I kid you not, optimism in motion. One of the bright lights of Portland's arts community, Jamie Hampton and Bodyvox.